Hey, John here. It's Wednesday, so that means we have some legato exercises to look at, as well as a lick, of course. So today I'm going to share a tip that when I discovered it really helped my pull-offs, but also helped my students' pull-offs a lot. So the way we're going to do this is first I'm just going to describe what it is, and then also give you a practice routine that you can use to really implement this in your playing. If you want tabs for this one, as well as all the previous lessons and all upcoming lessons, you can sign up for my YouTube lesson subscription over at my Teachable. You have the link below. And for $5 a month, you get access to all the tabs in Guitar Pro format, PDF, and all that good stuff, as well as some bonuses. If you'd rather go to my Patreon, you can access the same information, but you also get access to my huge Patreon lesson library containing literally hundreds of lessons. And finally, before we get started with the lesson, go sign up for my newsletter. You have the link below. And I know we all get too many emails, but sign up and see if you like it. If not, you can just unsubscribe, no hard feelings. But I really strive to provide great value in this newsletter. And you'll also get access to 17 free lessons straight away. Alright, so here's the lick slowly. We're gonna start on the 5th fret of the low E string. Alright, so this lick is based on the A minor pentatonic, and we add the flat 5 as a passing note at the end. So that would technically make it the blues scale, but it's based on this day 1 pentatonic shape. So hopefully most of you are familiar with this. And the first sequence, and this sequence is basically 80% of the lick, is a 6-note sequence with a string skip. So I'm just going to play the first section of it, and you will see what I mean. So we got... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And why I call this 1 again is because that's basically the same sequence on the but using the A and G string instead. So then we go to the D string. So it's only here at the top where we change things up. So and the way that I pick this, go down, hammer, M finger, hammer, pull off, and then an upstroke. And then that leads me to the downstroke here, so I can restart the sequence with exactly the same right hand fingering or picking. And that helps a lot in keeping this consistent. So down, hammer, M, hammer, pull off, up. Down, hammer, M, hammer, pull off, up. And you don't need to use hybrid picking necessarily for this initial part of the lick. But I prefer to do that because it feels less stressful to me, and also think it sounds better. But that, you know, that's very personal preference, and if you're not into hybrid picking at all, you don't need to use it. But if you're curious about it, you can check out my video series on it, and I will link that below. Anyway, from the beginning again. So the change here, I don't go there, instead I go back to that note again, and basically go down, add that at the end, and that's where we get that passing note as well. But the way that I look at it is basically, once I get to this note, I have this group. So 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and end on this note. So it's actually a cool lick in itself, so you can try that as well. Picking for this last bit, coming in from here. So I'm gonna have a M finger, hammer on, pull off, down, M, down, pull off, down, M, down, pull off, down. The subdivision that I use here is 16th notes, so 4 notes per beat. And that's actually quite important, I think, to get the specific sound that I'm going for. Because if you use 16th note triplets here, you can do that if you want, but one, you won't end up on the beat here. And also, it can sound a bit predictable because you have a 6-note sequence. And if the subdivision lines up with that as well, the accents get put in the same place every time, and then it can sound kind of sequency instead of doing this thing. Because when you do it that way, you actually get the accent on the downbeat first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and here that's going to be on the upbeat, so you get the accent on. And that sounds cooler, I think. You can absolutely use 16-note triplets as well if you want to do that. So, once more, all together, slowly. So I'm going to cover 2 things here. 1, how to improve your pull-offs, and 2, a routine you can use daily, preferably, to implement this into your playing over time. And I say over time because there's no quick fixes here. There's no 6-minute abs. You need to put in the work over a longer period of time to really get results. What makes the pull-off unique is that you need to have 2 fingers down to execute it. Compared to the hammer-on, for example, where if I'm going to hammer 5, 6, 8, I just play 5, hammer to 6, hammer to 8. Pretty straightforward. Pull-offs, on the other hand, you need to have the next finger prepared at all times. And why that is because pull-offs is actually you're plucking the string with the finger you're on. And what I mean by that is that if I want to play 8, 6, if I don't play 8 here now, and I just do the pluck, it's quite clear how the technique works, right? So I'm basically doing this. And you can hear this, the sound is identical as well. So that's why you need to have the next finger down, because you're actually using the previous finger to play the next finger. And this can cause problems in quite a few different ways, but the most common thing that I see among my students is when they cross strings, for example. So let's say we play the same frets, but we're gonna play 5, 8, 6, and we'll play 8, 6 on the B string. A lot of my students tend to do this. And if you didn't catch it, the problem is that you have 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, but they get 4 motions. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the way around this is to prepare the second finger in this case at the same time as you play the 4th finger. So you do that by putting them down at the same time. So I play 1, and then I push down 2 and 4 at the same time. So when I do that, I get 1, 2, 3. 3 notes and 3 motions. 1, 2, 3. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So to practice this, I suggest the following. And this routine you can use for picking as well, but this is specifically for legato right now. The focus here is to make sure that you always prepare the pull-off. We're going to do this by going through the 4 3-finger fingerings. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Within these fingerings, we're going to use all the available combinations without repeating any finger. So the first combination will be 1, 2, 3. And that's the way I would suggest that you do it. So basically just going up in one position, moving up a fret, going down in the next. The next combination will be 1, 3, 2. And you'll see when I play this, I focus on getting 3 and 2 down together. Right? And then the next combination will be 2, 1, 3. And now I'm going to focus on getting 2 and 1 together. And then we have 2, 3, 1. Now 3 and 1 will be together. And obviously when you play this, you want to use a metronome ideally. So I'm just raising and lowering the tempo now to show you what I'm doing with my fingers. So you want to keep it at a steady pace. That's not obvious. And the next combination would be 3, 1, 2. Again, now we want 3 and 1 together. And then finally we're going to have 3, 2, 1. So now we're going to have 3 and 2 together. And then as I shift to the second finger, then I prepare this finger. This combination might feel weird to a lot of you because you might think like, well, why don't you keep all fingers down? And the reason why I don't do that is because I truly believe that the less fingers you have down on the fretboard, the better off you will be in terms of mobility across the fretboard, and the less tension you're going to get in the left hand as well. So I only have as many fingers down as I need. So if I'm alternate picking, for example, I really try to only have one finger down on the fretboard at a time. That keeps the tension down. And you might feel like, well, you're sacrificing motions and speed and all that stuff. But the thing is, the speeds where it matters to keep your fingers down as much as possible are going to be ridiculous speeds that pretty much none of us play at anyway. And even if it means that I have to shave off a few BPMs at the top speed, I'd rather have that trade-off so I can actually play whatever I want on the fretboard instead of being stuck in one place. And if you don't believe me that it's more tension inducing to have more fingers down, just try this. So play 5, 6, 8 on the G string while having the third finger down here on the 7th fret. Try that and then compare it without it. And I think you'll see my point. I highly suggest that you only keep as many fingers down as you need to get the sound that you want. When I practice this 3, 2, 1 then, I make sure to only have two fingers down at a time at the most. So first off, I have 3 and 2 down. And then when I do the pull off, I put the first finger down. And then we're only on the first finger, and then when I go to the next string, same process. 3 and 2, 1 and 2. 3, 2, 2, 1. 3, 2, 2, 1. So that's what I focus on when I practice this. So that's all 6 combinations with this fingering. So again, we went through them 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Now you're going to apply the same sequence or the same combinations, but to the next fingering. So we're going to do the same thing with 1, 2, 4. So if we do 1, 2, 4, but we use the first combination, so that would be just ascending. And then we have 1, 4, 2. And as you can see, I do the same thing. I make sure that I play 1 and then I put down 4 and 2 together. And then you go through the same thing, all the combinations, and then you go through the same thing again with 1, 3, 4. So, and then finally you do 2, 3, 4. And obviously you do all 6 combinations for each fingering. I think initially it's enough to just do this. You start from the low E string, if you have a 6-string guitar, go up, shift up a fret, go down, and you do that for each combination. So you don't need to do every combination all over the neck, it will take too long. And the focus here is to get perfect reps. So do it really slowly where you have full control, you can really get those finger pairs down for the pull-off. And if you keep at it for a few weeks, you're gonna find that even though you're not trying to speed it up in practice, just by doing these correct motions and getting the feel for it, it starts to creep into your normal playing, meaning that when you're just working on specific licks or you're just improvising, that it actually starts to get smoother and smoother. Because the only way to retrain your muscle memory is to actually do it slowly, so you can give correct instructions to your brain. And there's a place for doing speed bursts and trying to raise the tempo and all that stuff as well, but I'm a firm believer in doing a lot of slow practice, and then you sort of have fun afterwards and try to play faster. But during the actual practice, I stick 99% to a very slow tempo, so I can actually focus on improving my technique every time I practice. So that's it for this time. I hope you understood everything I was talking about, and you can see sort of the difference in using this technique instead of trying to, not having a real strategy for doing pull-offs. And I really believe that this routine will help you a lot in a fairly quick time. But also, like I mentioned, there's nothing like six-pack abs or hacks when it comes to guitar playing. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone can do it, but it takes time and it takes the correct way of practicing, and then you'll get there. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.